Hey boys, what's up? I just realized the microphone was muted. I was saying hey to y'all, and I don't know what is going on the YouTube side. It's been ridiculous, but I did finally get it fixed. What's going on, boys? There we go. I think everything's running now. It was. I actually had it hardware muted because I was testing some stuff with the sound earlier today. Damn it, Oni. I wasn't pooping. Good news is I was finally able to fix StreamerBot, except it didn't send the go live notification like it should have normally. But at least it's up and running and it looks like chat's working, which is the main thing that I use it for as a chat aggregator.
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby. Did you remember to push it? Push it really good.
I did push it really good. Push it real good. Ah, crud. Now the problem is my network is acting up again. Although, I think I might know what the issue is. Let me see.
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby. What does that have to do with how much peanut butter you can fit in an elephant's ear with a popsicle stick?
I don't even know how to respond to that one, Gumby. Although I did have a really fun... I had a classmate when I was in physics in university, and he was hilarious. And I remember one time we had this physics problem, and it was something, I don't remember the exact problem, but it was find out something like the Schwarzschild radius from the mass of an electron or whatever. It was something that seemed very disconnected, but you actually could solve the problem. And he looks at the professor and goes, he's like, what is this problem? This is like asking how many pancakes it's going to take to sand a doghouse. Oh, this is going to be a pain. Rip. Yeah, for some reason the network forwarding is not working again. Why? Oh, timer's up. Let's get started. What's up, everybody? I don't know what I broke this time. Usually the port forwarding that always works, except this time it obviously didn't. So that's fine. I was trying to get the seed run for Stinger set up. Unfortunately, it's not going to let me do it. So we're going to have to just run it right now. The question is, Yeah, I do want to go ahead and run it. But I'm going to do something with it real fast here. Which is, when I do the seed run, we're going to put a breakpoint in here. So we're going to come to... Nope, not that. Come to the graph. Oh, I forgot when I'm... That's annoying. I need to send that as a feature request. So what I'd like to be able to do is set a breakpoint inside of exploitation agent. Actually, you know what I can do is I can interrupt before it reaches exploit, and then I can tell it to continue and then immediately kill it, because it's going to hit the load pickle immediately. So that'll work. Why would you let me pull it up if I can't even access it? You piece of crap. Hang on one second. Let me drop into OPSEC mode. Garbage. You're absolute garbage. You're killing me. Stand by, y'all. Get logged back in. I swear, every computer in this house has amnesia, and they always want to log me out and forget where I'm logged in at. All right, there it goes. Now it's processing. Dude, for some reason, the port forward isn't working. So I can get to it from the browser inside of the box, but usually I have an SSH port forward up that's actually forwarding it over to it, but it looked like it was working. Unfortunately, it was not. So over here in the browser, I can see this because this isn't talking to my system directly. If I come over here, this is actually where the LangGraph Studio should actually load up, but it can't reach the server. It's saying, hey, we can't talk on that port. I was like, why? There's no reason you shouldn't be able to talk on that port. Anyway, that's fine. We have a workaround. It's just annoying. Let me see. Where are we with this? It's doing our nmap scan. Don't tell me I didn't turn on the tunnel. Did I? Actually, hang on. Let's do something here. Let's cancel this run. I think the network adapter for this network is trashed out on me. So let's kill this. We'll go over into Proxmox and let's reboot the router real fast. Router reboot. Good news is it's a very lightweight Linux system, so the router should come back up real fast. Where's my notepad? I'm gonna take out another background song because I don't know what this is playing, but it's like playing nothing. There it goes. Yeah, it should be back up now. Let's go see. Well, actually, that's expected. Reconnect. All right, now, actually, let me close this one. I'm going to reopen it real fast. And then I'm going to try it over here. Let's see if that fixed it. Nope. Rip. That's all right. Actually, it looked like it may have been trying to work. See that? But that's okay. Where I gotta go? I gotta go over here. Connect. All right. One more time. What are you doing? Rerun from here. There we go. Okay, now we can get the seed run done. All right. By the way, I hope everybody's been having an absolutely fantastic Sunday. I had a pretty good one. I was able to go get like a 2-hour nap with the kids. They were exhausted. So they had their birthday party yesterday. They were having a good time, but they also had spent the night at my brother's house, so they were underslept, no nap. They were just done. And so they definitely needed one today. They crashed out pretty quickly as soon as I forced them to go lay down and take a nap. All right, good. You can see this running. Well, it should be playing now, but the last song, whatever it was, just wasn't doing anything. I don't know what it was doing. All right. Let's go check it real quick. Where's RoboPages? There it is. 10.201.11.54. Let's go make sure that's the right IP address here. Let's see, 11.54. You know what I ought to do is just go reroute this damn box and download all the stuff from the Apache config and then just put it onto my own system. I'm so fed up with the network connectivity issues over to try hack me. Plus, then I could have a static IP address. I don't have to go change it every time. Yeah, so I've been playing with the ducking on the background music, and it drops it pretty hard when I'm talking. It used to not drop it as much. Now it like really floors it whenever I'm speaking. Let's try this again. Let's see if we can actually access the box here. Killing me, Smalls. Get rid of these. Why are you not pulling up? It's great because it doesn't mess with my ADHD. Nice. All right, what is going on here? Cancel. For some reason, the network's not connecting over again. So I can see ton 0 down here, right? So our tunnel is opening. Let's try doing it from here. This should be 11.54. Yeah, it's just dropping it. What the crap, man. Let me try this one more time. Let's reboot this thing. No, I don't know what that background song is, but we're gonna skip that one. Hey, Wolf, what's up, man? Oh, trying to get our connections stable for some reason. It's just not wanting to play nicely over to TryHack me. Oh wait, I think I actually killed the VPN. So yeah, we should be writing to everything in the 10201 network. It's a /17. I wonder if I might just have to go kill the box and bring it back up. Because the only time we've seen it be an issue on the lab side is when the router was crashed out on us. So I've rebooted the router twice. I don't think that's it. Let's terminate this. And then we'll restart the machine and we'll try it all over again. Usually whenever this box spins up, it comes up pretty quick. But from what I've seen and from what some other folks have told me, sometimes when you spin up this TryHack Me box, it's probably, I'd say, about maybe a 20% chance. Maybe it's closer to 10%, but it just craps out on you. It doesn't ever finish the deployment. No, I'm not planning on doing a game stream tonight, Gumby. I might consider doing them more frequently once I get the dedicated streaming system. Because right now when I multi-stream, what I'm doing is I'm transcoding everything on this system. So hang on, let me see if I can show you something real quick. Let me look at the performance monitor real fast. Let's see what the GPU is doing while we're waiting for this box to spin up. Yeah, so let me show you this. So over here, we're of the video encoder cores, we're using about 72% of it already. So we're already kind of chugging along, and this is an RTX 3060. It's not a bad card, it's just not beefy, especially not by like an RTX 5000 standard. So this computer playing a lot of games, no problem. Trying to play games and multi-stream on it, it's a bit of a drag because it's just overtaxing the graphics card too much. So what I can do is I could actually set up this computer to send a single video stream to the streaming computer, and then I could have microphone, stream deck, camera, everything just tied to that computer, and then I can control everything from there and not have to worry about this computer trying to chug-a-lug along. Yeah, what I was looking at was one of the budget, what are they, the Intel Arc cards. One of those Intel Arc cards, I think, actually would be able to handle it no problem. Especially when they'll do the AV1 encoding. Alright, let's try this new IP address here. There we go. Now we're cooking with portals. Let's do this. Alright, now we're back up. But I gotta go grab a new copy of the state table. So let's do that. So let's come over here, drop it in. Let's make a new thread. New thread. There we go. Excellent. Now, because it's getting stuck in the recon agent, and it shouldn't get stuck in the recon agent very long. It should be fairly quick when it does that. So that's why I knew there was some kind of a problem with it. But I've set a breakpoint once it gets over to exploit. So the thing I wanted to work on tonight is we're going to actually move this RCE detection code over to the revisor. So what we'll do is we'll check and see if a step validates, and then we'll do an RCE check in the revisor. And if that revisor makes its determination, then what we'll do is we'll go then make modifications to the state table to skip the rest of the steps and just jump to the initial access exploit. Hey, Bobby, what's up, dude? You know what? Now that that's up and running, I wonder what to try something. Any luck with this connecting? Nope. Rip. That's all right. See, now it's already in the enum agent. And we started the recon agent like, I don't know, 45 seconds ago. It doesn't take very long. So once it gets through enum, it's going to break, which means it's going to pause execution on the exploit agent before it enters it. And then we can let it run for just a second and then kill it, and that'll save the pickle for us. I mean, we can save a bunch of tokens. Because honestly, it's the exploitation agent that's eating up all the tokens right now. See, that's the only thing I don't have, Gumby, is... Actually, I have to go pull it out, but the computer I'm thinking about putting it in, I believe, has an Intel card. It's an older system, though. But I don't need it to do a ton. I just need it to handle the video processing, right? So I believe it's got... What does it have in it? The sticker on it says i9. I don't think it's actually got an i9 in it, but I haven't used that system in a while. It's just kind of been sitting on my desk collecting dust. So I thought, okay, I could throw an art card in there and let it just handle all the encoding and transmission. All right. Come on, enum agent. I wonder why it's just kind of chug-a-lugging along. It might be also there's a little bit of a delay between, because this is a web-based RDP session it's over Chasm VNC, so it's not quite as crisp. That's usually why I port forward it and I run it over here in this browser, except I don't know why the port forward isn't working. That's a weird bug that happens occasionally with Royal TS. So as much as I like Royal TS, it's not perfect. It's got its own issues. Okay, so it paused now at... Let me go double check it real quick. So this one, it should have paused at the exploit agent. Yep, okay. So now, submit it. What is it doing here? Hold on, what is this thing doing? Stop. There it goes. And you go all the way to the bottom. There you go. Now continue to exploit. All right, cancel. There we go. Because all I needed to do was hit inside the exploit agent. I just needed to hit this node right here. And it's the very first node. So once I saw it hit the exploit agent, I knew it was good. Let's go verify it real fast here. Yeah, so as soon as it hits that load pickle, we're good. Because then it'll save it to the state table and we can, or it'll save it to disk, we'll be good with it. As long as you have a 10th gen or newer, it can do the smart access memory. Ooh, nice. I don't know, like I said, I don't even know what's in that box. It's a little bit older. So I gotta go check it and see what it's doing. All right, let's see here. All right, so currently what we've got is we have our check happening. This is our step processor. So we've got our RCE check happening. So I'm actually going to cut this out. I'm going to move it down here because this is where this kind of belongs. Let's see. I could take that out, but you know what? It's fine. It makes it more readable when I say, hey, is it on the last step? So I remember what it's doing. So I'm going to leave it like that. All right, so if we take all this code out. Yeah, actually, if we drop out all of this code, I think we'll be good right here. So we're going to take all of this. I'm just going to copy it for now. I'm going to comment it out, and we're going to go throw it down in the revisor. So where's our step revisor? Right here. Okay. So in here, what we had is we had it checking for our max step retries. Yeah, we'll go ahead and put this after the max step retries. See if it failed out on this. What do you mean that code's unreachable? Oh, because it pasted it into there. There we go. All right, so first thing we're going to do is check for failures, and then afterwards, stop indenting my code. There we go. It's the forced white spacing. Oh, thanks, Gumby. Yeah, I gotta go see what it's doing. I just haven't had time to bust that box open since I've been so busy with work recently. Normally, I'm actually not this busy with work, but we feel like we're kind of playing catch up and beat up because we're having so many challenges with it. So when everything's running nice, I actually have a pretty chill work week. It's just when everything goes awry, like with the current red team, that it gets kind of nuts. All right. So I need to do cleanup a little bit because we did not break out the exploit steps. We get our current exploit step. But one thing we can do is actually we can change this right here. So we can drop that in there. So the length of exploit steps is equal to the current step. So if we're already on the last step, then we're just going to skip all this stuff. Oh, we didn't do the context for this one. So how did we do the context previously? Ah, here it is. So we'll have to bring this down as well.
Hello, IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
I did, multiple times. Multiple times. Yes, I need to change that too. There we go. So that's the length of our, that's going to tell us how many exploit steps we actually have. We'll check the length of it. Actually, I was thinking about, do I need to just roll all this stuff into a single call? Because if we look at how this was functioning last night, let's come over here. So typically what would happen is the exploit processor would make 2 calls. One thing we could also do is, down here for the revisor, the exploit step status is where we actually look at this. So if we come over to our, that's an output formatter, I believe. You know what we could do? Just Control B that. There it is. Hey, Tifu, what's up? Happy Sunday. So actually, I thought about taking this code out right here. Taking out this other language model call that's happening right here, and essentially baking all the stuff for the RCE check over to the exploit step check. Hey, Steve, what's up, man? My name is Steve. Dude, you just reminded me, my kids lost their damn minds over the Minecraft movie. They got so jazzed up about it, I deleted it after I blocked it after we watched it. I was like, and they're like, hey, how come we can't find it? I was like, because you guys got insane. You went absolutely bonkers over that movie. And I'm not using that term lightly. I mean, they literally just lost their little ever-loving minds. Where's the RCE check? Oh, it's down here. Hang on, where is that? Exploit RCE check. Let's go to that. Yeah, so what I'm thinking about doing is nixing this exploit RCE check. Take this and basically roll it up into the exploit status. Yeah, let's do that. Let me bring this over a bit. True if code execution has been completed with proof of command output. Actually, let me change that with what is it? Proof. I don't want to say if it's been completed. I want to say if it's occurred. True if code execution has occurred with proof of command output. There we go. So what we're going to do is, rather than doing 2 language model calls, we're going to bake in all this stuff from one prompt over to the other. They're making a Fortnite movie, but I don't know how much truth there is to that. Yeah, that's one of the rabbit holes that Agent Zero goes down in YouTube. Is he starts looking at, he's like, Daddy, there's gonna be a Sonic versus Mario movie. I'm like, let me guess, you saw a trailer? He's like, yeah, and it was awesome. Oh, you sweet child. Let me explain to you fan trailers. Where's this? Here it is. Let me take another look here. That's our... So this is the one we need to work on. So we need to merge this prompt over to the other one. Exploit step status. There it is. Oh, they're right next to each other. Perfect. All right. So what we need to do is we got to take these two and kind of combine them a bit. Yep, there we go. You are a world-class exploit analyzer. Bam. So given, let's see, given the task, analyze the output, determine if the status of the, and determine the status of the task. Yeah, let's take this also. Let's add a little bit more to this. Let's see. Not execute, what do I want to say? We'll say use the following criteria. To do what? Yeah, there it is. You must always call the exploit step status tool. So we're going to say use the following criteria to determine the values. Yeah, let's do this. To call the exploit step status tool. Well, let's put that in here. There we go. And then what we'll do now is throw a new line in there. We'll drop this in. Oh, that ain't gonna work. Why are these? What is going on here? My mouse is going nuts. Pointless, thanks for coming online, man. Welcome in. I hope you're having a super stupendous, amazing Sunday. I gotta come up with more S adjectives. All right, why are you being like this? You're killing me, Smalls. All right, I'm not gonna let that bother me. It's gonna bother me, but I'm not gonna let it. All right, let's see. What else do we need to bring down here? So we're gonna have to bring down this this context block too, because we have task, we have output, and we have overall context here. Do we even need the context now? I don't think so. So we can tell it, hey, it doesn't have to check the context of the request. It can just check the output. Because that's going to have, because if we get a command to run and it gets command execution, then Boom, we're good. Okay. Awesome. So we don't need it to check the context anymore. So we won't need the context builder. We're just going to need the output. All right. What other directives did we had in here? Oh, we had a definition for code execution. So let's go get that. Boom. And then what we'll do is... You just went outside, Peaches. What do you need? Shut up, baby. I know it. Peaches is over here begging to go outside already. It's like, you literally just came inside. You're not even you're not an outside dog. You're an indoor princess. Hang on one sec, guys. Be right back. All right, I'm back. Like, she literally just came in. It's like, but also, she knows what, she doesn't want to get, I don't, like, it's not like she gets in big trouble. She goes in, if she has an accident in the house, she goes in her kennel for a while. She hates that. So, she knows, like, I don't want to get put in doggy jail. I was like, okay, fine, you can go outside. I'm not pooping, Gumby. I was literally letting Peaches out to go poop. All right. All right, let's see here. It's going to be real interesting. I was just thinking about it. Some of the exploits, when you fire them, you don't get like direct, like, let's say, interaction back where you can see something happening. You have to do it through like an out of bands method, right? Like you have a packet capture going and you see like a ping request come back from the server. So you might not get any of the output, but you can see that commands are running. That would be an interesting one for it to try and solve. All right, so check the output of the request to determine if the remote code execution has been achieved. Given the exploit task, analyze the output. Actually, I think I want to move this up a line. Now. You're not going to let me move you up a line, are you? So let's see. So given the task, given the exploit task, analyze the output, determine the status of the task, check the output of the request, and determine if remote code execution has been achieved. So what I'm going to do is, let's give it the ability here to define code execution real fast. Oh, it did not like that. Why are all these all of a sudden like completely off center? Oh, it's good enough. All right, let's see. So we give it the definition of code execution so it knows what to look for. You must, so its directives are, you must always call the exploit step status tool, which I think we might be able to take that out. It's kind of redundant considering the new directive we put up here. Use the following criteria to determine the values to call the exploit step status tool. I'm going to leave it in. You must always call the exploit step status tool. Let's see. Tasks that require artifacts should be file system paths. If the task status is validated, leave the revision field blank. If the task status is failed, provide a revised task that corrects for the error or blockage. Consider the nature of the blockage. If the correction step needs to occur before the current task, set insert step is true. Revised instructions should be a single task. Tasks should never be compound instructions. So then we give it a couple of good and bad examples. So, all right, I think that actually will work. Yeah, I think that will work. Let's take this, and I'm going to comment this code out, because then what we're going to do is we're going to just fix up the code in the revisor a wee bit. I'm surprised this hasn't errored out, because we just took out the thing it was using. Let's see. Hey, Oni. Oh, wait, I already said hey to you. All right, I think I can just take all this and actually comment it out as well. So what we're going to do is, it should say, we get a logging message saying we're going to do this. We figure out what our step task is. We get our task output. Bam. And then we build all of our information here. Okay, excellent. So it's not going to validate without RCE, right? So then what we'll do is, let's make one thing in here. So this will be our status. I think this needs to be a string, because I didn't type these when I was doing it. So let's go ahead and type these up. The revision should also be a string. And then our insert step should be a bool right here. Yeah, because that's how we set it up in the output formatter, right? Where's the output formatter? Yeah, insert step bool, RCE bool. Okay. So let's do one more of these. And what we'll do is we'll change this to our RCE check. Right here. RCE check. So we're checking to see, did we get remote code execution? And this should be just RCE in here. Just like that. Bam. Excellent. So then what we can do is, after we validate this, we'll do one more check in here. Yeah, because here's actually where we set this, right? Oh, we need to go change this guy right here. Yep, so this is the part that's going to have to change. So if it's validated, we do want to set the status to validated, but then we're going to do one more check here. So we're going to say if RCE check. Then what we're going to do is we're actually going to run this line, but it's going to be different. Or actually, we could just do that. Yeah, come to think of it, since we're using a conditional for that statement, we can just back it out. Yeah. Pale Horse, what's up, dude? Coming in repping the Illuminati. Yeah, what we can do is we can take this out. What we can say is if there's an RCE check. So if RCE, then we're going to do... Hey, Alex, what's up, man? So this, what this is doing is it's going to increment it by one if not RCE check. Else, what we want to do is we want to set it to the second to last step. Yeah, that's what we want to do. Hey, Chris, what's up, man? It's always Bavaria's somewhere. That's a twist on that. Oh, you know, I've always heard it's always beer 30 somewhere. I think what I want to do here is we're going to say length of exploit task steps right here. But then we're also going to do -1 on that. Because what we want to do is we want to set the current step for the next iteration, the time it goes through the loop, to that. So we're going to increase it by 1 if it's not. Otherwise, we're going to do this. We then need to do one more check in here. I don't like that because there's actually multiple steps we need to do. So I'm going to go back with my first gut, which was if we have RCE, then what we're going to do is we're going to bring this up here. And this is going to be true right here. I'm going to take all this out. I'm going to copy that before I take this part out. There we go. So what we're going to do is we're going to set it to start executing the very last step. And then let's go ahead and put our else block in here, where then it's just going to increase it by 1. But now what we need to do is actually we need to copy the section of the code block where it went through all the remaining steps and ran through this. Let's see. So for I in range from current step to step task. Okay. I don't know what I even hit for that. Anyway. All right. So if our... There we go. So here's our RCE check. So if we get RCE, we need to update the current step, but then... Oh, actually, I want to do that last, come to think of it. Because what we're going to do is we're going to say for step length, this is not going to be step length, this is going to be the length of exploit task. There we go. And then however long the steps value is in there. Because we want it to take everything from the current step to the second to last one and clean it up. More Python. The stream keeps freezing. I don't know what is going on with it, man. It's this freaking computer, dude. I'm about to just take it out in the backyard and shoot it. It's not like it should be even chugging along either. Everything should be running just fine.
Incoming transmission from RNO Gumby network is buffing hard. You might be having troubles.
Dude, I'm having troubles, man. Is it AWS or DNS? The answer is yes. And now the fucking camera, man. God. What even is this day? Hang on. Let's see here. You're going to see my hand for just a second here. There it goes. Good Lord. Everything's just dying on me today. This computer is hobbling on its last freaking leg, man. All right. What was I even doing? Lost track of things. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that should work. So we're going to loop over this iterator. We're going to say it's working here. And dude, the video, like when I'm checking the monitor for Twitch, it's showing the video like severely delayed. I have no idea what's going on here. Dude, what is up? Good thing is, I have my Jocko. Not sponsored by Jocko yet. Right. If you're on the Twitch side and the stream is being delayed, try doing a browser refresh. I don't know what the heck is happening with it. I guess tomorrow, I don't know when I'm going to even do it. Maybe tomorrow night, I'll bust open that old computer and actually see what's in there. I took a brief glimpse at it, but 57, what's up, man? Oh, so YouTube has been solid? I don't know what's up then, man. everything was giving me trouble last night too. Streamer bot wasn't working, so I didn't have like the combined chat. So like for example, here I can see who's chatting on Twitch, I can see who's chatting on YouTube. This is really cool. I think eventually I keep Kick up as a separate chat over here. I actually had to kill the Kick stream. I don't think it was actually working, which sucks because I like to keep that as a backup. But anyway, but here like I can see 57's over here chatting about YouTube. Cool. YouTube last night, because I didn't have streamer bot, I had the chat popped out and just set off to the side like I normally do, and it was just showing me that everything was hunky-dory. Then I tried to send a message towards like the end of the stream, and it said, oh, by the way, yeah, you're not getting any live data. You need to re-log into YouTube. I was like, are you freaking killing me? You're killing me, Smalls. Ugh. So I don't know if anybody was even chatting on YouTube last night. I couldn't even see. Dear Jocko, please fix yourself and sponsor this gentleman. Sincerely, someone who wants to patron your product. He's running silky smooth like Billy Madison. I make the hair clean. I make it silky smooth. Stop staring at me, Swan. God, I hadn't thought about Billy Madison forever, Chris. Thank you for that. Oh, Veronica, so hot. Want to touch the hiney. Hey, I already let you out. You're not going out again. No. Stay inside. Joel Narad, what's up, man? Thanks for coming online. Welcome to Technical Glitches Purgatory. It's not quite hell, but man, they're pervasive. It's been a beatdown the last 2 streams for some reason. I don't know what this computer's doing. This computer's losing its mind. It's time for Old Yeller to just get put out to pasture. Twitch kept dropping you to 160p? That's wild, dude. That could just be a Twitch thing. I mean, since Twitch took over, or since Amazon took over Twitch, right, they're obviously running all that in AWS. And I don't think US East 1 is fully recovered. That was one of the issues during this red team that was giving us trouble because some of our infrastructure's up in Amazon and it was just beating us down. Is there anything else I need to add to this? I don't think so. I think this... The only thing to do now is go run it. Hack the planet. All thing to do now is just run it and go see. Because I think it's all merged in correctly. Because we're only making changes to tasks. We're returning those AI tasks. Shut up, baby. I know it. I think this will work. Let's go try it. Let's go see what happens. So let me double check the... That's our step revisor. Yep. I'll delete out all those giant commented blocks here. This is another one where it gives me that dumb thing where it's like, hey, I expected to get a list of exploit steps, and instead I got a list of exploit steps. I'm like, for real? I know there's a way to fix this. Hang on. Let's see. Suppress for that statement. There we go. Just go away. Go away now. All right. Let's save it. Let's make sure the code hot loads in. It is not liking something. Get exploit step prompt RCE. Why is it saying this is showing up in Stinger here? Hang on. What is going on? Because we took that prompt and we edited it out, but for some reason it's still trying to find it. Oh, you know what it is? It's wanting to. It can't import it, even though we're not using it. That was the problem with it. So it's trying to import it, but there's nothing to import because we commented the section out. Okay, now it should be good. Let's go. Let's go try this. Run. Cesarius, what's up, dude? Mr. Hacker Man. Dude, I'm just Mr. Smooth Brain, man. Mr. Fighting his tech all the time, man. There's a lot of days I feel like, if you ever known a lot of mechanics, it's very common you see mechanics who are amazing at repairing cars and they drive the biggest junkers because they don't want to work on their own cars. They just like working on other people's cars. And a lot of times that's exactly how I feel. Even though I've tried to go through and figure out what is this stupid computer doing? And it's just lost its mind. It's probably just needs to be blown away and get reinstalled from scratch. However, OBS is not real good at allowing you to migrate systems. So, for example, I've got everything installed and set up on OBS on here. I can't just lift and shift over to the new computer. There's not a great way to do that. I realized later why everybody was saying, hey, when you install OBS, do it in portable mode, don't do it in installation mode. Because when you do it in portable mode, you literally can just pick that folder up and go drop it onto a new computer, and you're good. When you do that in portable mode, it doesn't work the same way. I'm sorry, when you do it in installation mode, it doesn't do that. That's not the only thing being smooth. That's right. I am Smooth Brain. Smooth Brain Operator. Why are you doing an HTTP GET? You're given all the custom commands you need for this. You don't need one. Where's our currently running test? Let's go take a look at it. So it gets our artifact, calls the browser agent. Oh, you know what I bet also in here? I probably have a butt ton of hanging out browser containers that we need to go close out. Let's see. Okay, so it tries the upload, it fails. What are we doing for the rename? What is going on here, man? This is such a beatdown. I'm on tilt. Hang on, guys. I'll be right back.
Hello, IT. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
All right, I'm back. Ugh. Got both back online. All right. Thanks, 57. Jeez, man. I don't know what it is going on here. I want to say it's not my computer, but you know what? All signs are pointing to it is this computer. So what I do down here, let me show you, is in OBS, here's Infinite Blaise. I've got multi-output, RTMP multi-output. So I can literally turn on the individual streams. The main stream on OBS is set up to stream over to Twitch. And then from here, I can turn them on and off. I'm literally turning it off and on again to get YouTube to work. There's no reason for it to just automatically, randomly stop working. I literally hit stop and tell it to restart. I'm doing the ultimate IT power move. I'm turning it off and on again. Interesting. So what happened here? How did we get over to, how did this one way down here at the revisor cause this issue? So here's where we went. So we get the DiceCo artifact. We go to this step processor. It starts running through it. We get a browser navigate. And then we attempt to upload the PHP web shell. I'll tell you what, let's go check something real quick here. So this task was rename PHP JPEG to PHTML. Okay, nice. Got it. Okay, so we renamed to PHTML. That was not your instruction. That was not your instruction. Oh, wait. Actually, yes, it was. Change to PHP, JPEG, or PHTML. Damn it, and it just chose the stupid one. All right. So the upload is going to succeed, and we see that here. Let's see. So we got a success upload, and it's going to uploads web shell. Okay. So then actually, what was the next task in here? So the next task was... Oh, this is the revisor. That's okay. The revisor should have said status failed. Wait, hold on. What was the task in here? Task was upload the PHP web shell using the file upload form. And it did. Why did it fail this one? So looking at the output, the initial attempt to upload the web shell directly failed with the PHP not permitted. However, the second attempt, the user successfully uploaded the file by renaming it to PHP JPEG. However, the file uploaded succeeded. There's no evidence to output that remote code execution had been achieved. Simply uploading the web shell doesn't confirm execution. Okay, that's fine. But the status shouldn't have failed. Ah! Can it read a JPEG and render that as a bypass? No, it can't. In fact, whenever you try to access php.jpg, it just gives you the code for the PHP web shell. All right, so it says it failed that. So then the step processor is going to try and do attempt to execute command to verify RCE. So it sends an HTTP get, but it's just going to get the thing. So that's not going to work. It's going to try another HTTP get with the command equals ID. That's going to fail. Revisor should say, yes, this failed with no RCE. Yep, so don't insert a step. This is false. Status failed. So then it actually revises this one more time. Comes back and says, we want to navigate to the in the browser to verify if the command works. So then it calls up the browser agent, navigates to it. And let's check the summary of actions. The server appears to treat the file as an image rather than as PHP code. The page displays an image element rather than the command output. So I tried to access the file without JPEG extension at web shell PHP, but received a 404. I also tried a PHTML extension, which also returned a 404. Yeah, because we haven't uploaded a PHTML. So then what does the exploit agent say next? Actually, something jacked up here. Look at this. The reviser didn't do anything. The reviser has no language model call. So why would it do that? Oh, I think I know why. I think the exploit step router. So hold on, if we look at this, so this was, let's look at our steps real quick. Let's collapse some of this stuff down. We'll go dig into the task. So we're on task 5. And if we look at the step output here, this one, there's 0, 0. Here we have 5. So that's what happened. So the step reviser over here said that. This is a problem in the router. So the router's not checking, did the task fail? So if we look at the exploit task, status is failed up here. If we come to the exploit step update, let's step back 1. Exploit status is still working. So we need to come over to the step router, and we need to tell it to check if the exploit task, if that status has failed. If so, then we route up to, okay, I see where the problem is now. I'm on to your little games. So we need to go to the exploit step router down here. Here it is. Wait, is that the exploit step router? No, that's not that's the reviser router. Should be. So there's the exploit step reviser, and then oh, it's the exploit step router? Is this the one? Oh, we never updated this. This shouldn't go to exploit payload crafter. Yeah. Actually, I need to take these out anyway. So let's go do that. We can take out the payload crafter. We don't need that part. We merged it into the primary loop. Let's see. To do, remove this. So this is from exploit agent to handoff step planner. What else did we have in here? This must have been the payload crafter stuff. Conditional edge from the reviser to exploit step processor or to payload. So right now, yeah, that's part of the problem here. So the router is all wonky. Let's take all this crap out. Let's take all that out. And then we can come back up to the actual router function. There it is. Here we go. All right. Why is it? There. Get rid of some of these yellow lines as I come across them. All right, so what we're saying here is that if the status has failed, if the exploit step, no, that's not right. Go to exploit agent. Yeah, I disabled everything that was in there for the payload crafter. We kicked it out of there and we merged it into. Basically, we did it by inserting another step at the end of the task list. So whenever the planner creates the list of tasks, we get that back, but then we manually insert one more task one more step at the end of the exploit task that says, go create the initial access exploit. And so that should handle it in there. Maybe, we'll see. So this shouldn't be our exploit step. This should actually be our exploit task. So if the step failed, that's not what we want. This is incorrect. This should not go to exploit. Yeah, let me take this out right here. So literally, if we go look at the graph, which it probably won't render because of everything we've done. But what should happen is the revisor here only has two options. So what we want to say is if the task has not failed, then go to the step processor. That's what we want to do in here. So we need to clean that sucker up a lot. All right. So if the exploit task failed, go to exploit agent. So we had exploit step in here, but this shouldn't be exploit step. This should be exploit task. So if the exploit task status has failed, then route to the exploit agent. Otherwise, return the exploit step processor. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Gumby. It should have been the exploit task, not the step. Are we even using this? Oh, we are. Okay. This is only used in one spot, so let's clean up this guy a little bit because it is just looking a bit funky in here. We can take this out too because we're not even using it. So you go bye-bye. We're not even checking the exploit step anymore either. Yeah, there we go. So all we're going to do is we're going to check the exploit task. And we don't need this anymore either. Just like that. Okay, so that dropped that down a lot. Basically saying, if the exploit task failed, then we go to the exploit agent. Otherwise, we go to the step processor. There we go. All right, let's see if that all loaded in. You're learning me real good, sir. I tried, man. All right. You guys are learning along with me. It's the way it goes. All right, let's go try running this again here. Let's spin up a new thread. Would you stop? Jeez. Let me refresh this connection here. Reconnect. There we go. The learning will continue, Gumby, until morale improves. Alright, let's let this guy run for just a wee bit. I can't believe this is not port forwarding properly. I keep refreshing it hoping it's going to change, but you know what, it's fine. This is fine. Everything is fine. Alright, so it got the web shell artifact, it browsed to the page. Oh, remind me before I do the next run, I need to go clean up all the dangling Docker containers that are running on this system. Because there's a ton of them. Yes, the beatings will continue until the language model listens to our prompts properly. That's right. Understand what I mean, not what I type. I've got a bar of soap and a sock. I'll teach them real good. So I saw something pop up on Twitter, and it was some GPT-style model that was trained on handling time series data. And so, of course, the first question was, how's it work on the stock market? And if you have to ask, the answer is, it doesn't. No, Wolf, they shouldn't, but they are just sitting in the background. So what should happen is eventually, I don't think I ever put in a proper teardown process for the browsers. So it's kind of like we've got a memory leak, right? We spin up a Docker container every time, and when that happens, they just don't die. And so it goes and spins up another one. And it references those containers by name, and it forms a socket over to them. So they just hang out there in the background. So like if I come over here and I do like Docker PS, right? There's just a ton of them. Every time we do a run, there's a new one in there. How did I do this before? Was that it? No. Where's that come from? D26? It changes each time. Actually, you know what I could do? Let's pipe that to grep. We'll do an extended grep, and we'll say, let's see, browser underscore. I think like that. That should give us white space in there. Let's see. regex 101. Let's go try that real fast. This would be one of the cases where regex would be helpful. So here's our test data. We want to find browser underscore dot star. Oh, no, that's the wrong button. I broke it. This computer hates me. Let's see. Browser underscore dot star backslash W. All right, so that should hopefully match it in here. That is, I got to remember how to grep return only match. Let's see, is it TAC O? Yeah, TAC O. What is up here? There we go. Translate new lines to spaces. There we go. And then that we'll use that here in just a second to go kill all these containers. Well, it's still running. Let's see what it did. So it tries to go do the first upload. It should fail and get a rename. What name did it choose for the rename? It shows PHTML. Cool. So file rename. Why are you renaming it twice? Oh, you mother. The task was rename it to an extension such as PHTML. Okay, this is... We need to put another directive in here. We need to tell it to be explicit because it gave too many options in here. We picked one, and then the reviser said... It's right here. We did a rename file. You bastard. You know what we might need to do is actually get like the list of the args calling here. This literally says, hey, we renamed it, right? So what does it try now? It's probably going to try like a stupid extension. No, it did PHTML. And then probably the reviser. Now what did the reviser say after that? What happened here? Hold on. So the reviser failed it because it said rename it to some extension. We give it here. It says, I didn't see that happening. It says status failed. Okay. The new one is upload and rename. There's nothing about uploading here. Where are you getting this from? P-kill tech A now. No. Bad. It's probably stuck in some kind of recursion loop over here. Yeah. It's gone off the deep end here. Although I need to let it run because let me go back and check it real quick. Did it ever go back to the exploit agent here? So there's our exploit agent. It never did. It's probably going to error out with the recursion error. Yeah, it did error out. Let's go see what error it finally did. It must have been a recursion error. Good lord, 241,000 tokens. That cost $1. Almost $1. It took 89... Nope, 90 cents. 90 cents to run that. Hey, Noom, what's up? All right, so what was the error we got here? Index list out of range again. Damn it. Damn it all. But it just went way off the rails here. Look at this. Let me look at something real quick here. Okay. Let's see. What is it? I think it's Docker. Docker container stop.
Hack the planet!
Hack the planet. You're killing me. Oh, it's just Docker stop. That's it. I need to brush up on my bash scripting again. There we go. That killed them all. Excellent. Hack the planet. They're trashing our rights, man. They're trashing the flow of data. Let me see what the chat came back with this one. Because I actually haven't messed with the chat interface here. So we told it, scan the target, how many ports are open, verify the version of Apache. Okay. Oh, it's going through the entire list here. Hold on. Yeah, because we're not just seeing what we've got in here. We're seeing everything for it. All right, go back to the graph. So not as helpful. It's easier to go through the trace over here. So there's some things that the reviser is being absolutely ridiculous about. So let's see what happens here. So if we come to the step planner, what are our steps here? So get a PHP web shell artifact, navigate to the upload form, upload it, access it, and uploads to verify command execution. Good, those are straightforward steps. So it goes through and it gets the first artifact here. Boom, there's our artifact, just like so. And then the next thing it tries to do is it goes and browses to it. That looks good. The reviser says, hey, that's valid. You did a correct step. So then the next step it goes to is upload the PHP. So we go through here. It fails to upload. So the reviser should say, hey, that failed. Okay, so it failed. So here's part of the problem. It used OR. It gave it too many options. So let's go beef up the reviser again, because the reviser is trying to be dumb. Let's see. So far, I think this is working. Let's take this out. We're just going to get rid of that prompt. We've already merged it down into the reviser prompt. In fact, we don't need this one anymore either. Get rid of that. Okay, let's see what else we've got in here. So given the exploit task, analyze the output, determine the status of the task. Let's see. Let's give it just, well, let's do this again. Let's just give it another bad example here. Go over here, bad example. Rename the file to .xxx or .yyy. And then we're going to give it one more actually good example amongst all of this. Because we're kind of pairing these up, right? We're saying, hey, here's a good example, here's a bad example when this happens. So another bad example. We're going to say a good example. So this is like a multi-shot prompt we're having here. Let's see. I can't type either. Example. So another example we'd want to say would be rename the file to .xxx or .yyy or .zzz, right? We're telling it, hey, these are bad examples of basically making a compound statement. Let's give it a reason why these are bad examples. Tasks should never be compound instructions. Let's see. See the examples below. Boom, here's these. So good example, bad example. And then let's see what the reason for this is. We're going to say compound statement. Actually, I don't think we need that, come to think of it. So good example was rename the file to bypass upload restrictions. Bad example, rename the file and re-upload the new file. Let's make this a little bit clearer here. To bypass upload restrictions. Right here. So good example, trigger C2 payload with impacket wmyexec. Bad example, upload the C2 payload and execute with impacket wmyexec. Awesome. So this is going to help tie those together by having these like kind of key phrases in here that there's a reason for why it's doing it. Tell it to just give you 3 options. I don't want it to do 3 options. I want it to look at the history and realize that it's failed beforehand. What do we pass to this? We pass it task and output, right? I need to go through and fix up something in here, because in tasking, this function is giving us constant problems. Because if we look at what we're getting back whenever we do the revisions, right? This one's not a good example. Let's do this one right here. I bet it said it failed, didn't it? Yeah, it failed. The task was rename the PHP web shell to an alternative extension. I see, and upload it again. So it failed. Okay, I am going to give it an example. I'm going to tell it why this is good or bad. Bad example. Let's see. We're going to say this is a compound and statement. And then we'll say this is a good example. Atomic statement. Let's see. So pretty much all of these are atomic statements in here, basically saying they shouldn't be divisible at all. Boom. That's an atomic statement. Let's see. Oh, this is a bad example. Hold on. I got these backwards. All right, that's all right. We'll fix it right here. Rename this. Let me copy this real quick. Let's take that out. .xxx to .yyyy. And then this, actually, I had the goods and the bads backwards. There we go. So this is a bad example here because if it's a compound and statement. This one is another compound and statement here. So let's go drop that in here, why this is bad. And this one be the same thing, except it's going to be a compound or statement in here. So all of these should be atomic instructions. Boom. Okay. Hopefully that will help kind of mix it in there where it'll realize, hey, this is not what we want to do. I think we do need to add one more option in here where we send it the context of like what's already been tried. But to do that, we need to trim down a little bit of what's happening here. So this takes our output text if the instance is a tool message, otherwise it's just the output. But nothing seems to be flagging as a tool message. Like for example, this one right here. So this isn't checking to see if it's a tool message. So rather than saying if it's an instance of this, what we're going to say is, let's go fix this up. What was that? It was the role. if role equals tool. Yeah, I believe that's what we want to get. Yeah, so if the role is equal to a tool, let me go look at something again real quick, because I feel like the tool message should have... So the tool message does have a text representation, right? This is, we're looking at the tool message documentation here. What about an AI message? Does an AI message have a text representation? Let's see. Return the content of the message. Okay. I do want to get that, but I also want to get a list of the args that were used for it. That gets us the tool call associated with the message here. So, damn it, I gotta... it's annoying. All right, we're gonna fix it. So we'll say... so first we need to check is if we have a tool call. So if we have a tool call, then what we want to do is we want to get the args from this. Let's see. Else, then what we want to do is we're going to say just get the text argument here. Hey Hugh, what's up, man? Let's see. Because the problem is this is putting a lot of trash into the tracking here, right? You see all this stuff. We don't need all of this data. Literally what we need is what was the output. So what I want to do is get the name of the tool called, the input arguments, and then the output data. That's it. So we're going to make this the like reproducible result. Dude, I am sitting here fighting with the dumbest AI possible. Now, granted, actually, I think, so we're using Claude 3.7 for this because that's what I started with. Claude 4.5 wasn't out yet, and I did not feel like trying to update it midstream, basically. So we're going to continue using Claude 3.7 as the time progresses. Until we hit probably finishing the Stinger agent. So quite a while, because we still have to go through PostX, build that agent from scratch, and then go through and do everything else for, what is it? Do everything else from PostX, and then build up the Stinger agent. So we've got 2 more agents we still need to build out before it kind of reaches that equilibrium point. Let's see. Yeah, so there's our tool call args right there. So we can literally call, this is a property on here, isn't it? Yeah. So we just get the args out of there. All right. So we actually need to do this slightly differently. Let's say, so if AI message, then what we'll do is we'll say, if tool calls, we'll check the tool calls. Those. That's right. It goes by having a tool call, which is part of the AI message, that then returns that then after that, then it returns the tool message. So tool call is a subfield on the AI message. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I'm tracking you now. Gonna hunt you down. Actually, I think we can work with this. We go back to the tool message here. All right, Hugh. Thanks for stopping in, brother. I understand it's late for most folks. This is just the only time I can stream, so that's when I do it. That should be a tool message, though. That's super helpful. Roll tool. Call ID content. So it's just giving us the output here, but here it's actually tracking the input and the output. Let me look at something in the state table real fast. Maybe I'm already tracking this and I can just pull it out. Yeah, so we called get PHP diceco artifact, and then we have the output from that. So what we need is the input, though. We need the input to tie it together. How do I want to do this? Because the problem is, well, actually, there may be a way we can do this. The tool call ID was null. Damn. Let me look at something else real quick here. Yeah, they're not all going to respond the same way. How could I get the input to that tool call? Because essentially, I want to replicate this right here. Now, that's not going to give it to me. Let me think about this. So we have input coming into the tool node, not the output. I mean, damn it. There is a dirty little hack where I could do where we just go append this to the latest tool call, right? So if we come look at the graph here, I feel like there's a better way that I should be able to do this. But if we come look at the graph, right? Here's the tool node. This is the one actually ingesting the input. It's something that's kind of built into LangGraph. So what we could do is the final step, the exploit step update is basically taking the output from this and injecting it into the state table so we can keep it. So what we could do also is actually have this come over to like a tool prep node to track the input, then pass it, and then go to the next one. I feel like that is suboptimal though. Because the whole idea The whole idea here in the state table was that when we're tracking these, we're making two lists. And the lists basically, you could zip them together and call it good. So we had the tool call, and then we had the output from the tool call. But we need to be able to track the input parameters as well. Actually, I'm an idiot. There's a very simple way to do this. When we append the tool call, we could actually just make this right here. It's just a string. We could go modify this. Instead of being a string, this could literally be a dictionary or anything else where we have a formatted string that says, hey, here's all the arguments we passed over to it. That's a lot simpler. And we would do that up here in the step processor. So let's go make that change in the step processor. Oh, this is gonna hoit because there's gonna be a lot of changes in here. All right, so where's our exploit step processor? All right, that's tasking. That's why it looks funny. Let me put a to-do in here. To-do. This stuff is broke. Let's see. That's the validator. Where's our exploit step planner? That's not what we want. Processor. Here we go. All right, we can kill all this stuff out of here for now because we've already ported that code down to the revisor. Take out that one too. So when we append the tool call, what we're going to do is we're actually going to also pull out from our response. That's going to be an AI message with the tool call. So the tool call here actually has our args, which is our dictionary. Yep, we can do that. So we're just going to send that as a format string, essentially. So there's our args name, right? So our args is a dictionary, the arguments for it. That's our name. So it should be like, I think, args when this replies back. Let's go look real quick. Let's see. So where's our step processor? So this should return a tool call down here. I want to see the entire output, though. I don't want to see just this. In fact, there's the tool ID right there for what gets called with it. I wonder why the tool ID was not tracking when it did this. So what we can do is we can basically take this and track the input-output files, and then we can track the output just over in the output field with it. Yes, we can do that. The question is, what is that value going to look like? So here's our args. Here's A1, A2. We have name. Because when I'm looking at this, right, what we do is, oh, here's the response tool call name. I take it back. This is if we're calling a special agent. That's a unique circumstance. Here we go. This is what we want. Yes. Let's take you, my little data point. You're now going to be like this. Wait, hold on. Why is that all weird? Oh, it's because I'm missing a parenthesis. Like, why is this all jacked up? Genus Jordan, what's up, brother? Unexpected expression part? In what way? Oh, there we go. For some reason I had a dangling parentheses in there. All right, that's fine. So we're going to take this, and then what we're going to do is we're going to literally put in this guy right here. And then we need to wrap this. There we go. And instead of name, this is going to be args. But we need to make that a string because it's going to be a dictionary. So I believe, I don't want to do that. What's the best way to convert a dictionary to an arg? Let me see. Python dict to string. Oh, you can literally just cast it as a string. Okay. Because it doesn't need to be pretty JSON format. It just needs to be a string. So we'll just wrap that in a nice little string function right there. Boom. I think that will... Ah, there we go. It's out of position. So now what we should have is when we're tracking everything in the state table, we're going to have the name, and then we're going to have it like it's formatted like a function call, and this is the argument we're passing to it. We need one more thing here, which is that, parentheses, just like that. Okay. So now hopefully that'll fix the issue where it's like, hey, you didn't actually do the file name rename properly. It's going to say, oh yeah, you actually did do it. Because it looked like we were losing some context, and the reviser didn't think anything was actually happening when something happened. Another thing the reviser was doing was it was giving us crappy examples of renaming the extension to like multiple extensions in here. I think there's one more change we need to make, and that is we need some context. So this is just the single tool output, right? We do need to add in a context portion to this. So let's do that. If I can type context. And what we'll do is we'll put in a context value here. Go back, go back. Just like so. And then we'll do a faux XML closing here. Boom, there we go. Just like that. So now we actually need to go pass in a context to this guy. So rather, when we make the language model call, oh, we actually already had the context happening. Build exploit context. Yay, thanks, past me. So we were passing in extra stuff here. Oh, I take it back. This is the status template. This is different, but we can use that same context method in here. We'll copy that. We need to go down to the reviser to actually put that in. So in the reviser, where's your language model call? Where are you? That's the bailout. We can get rid of this large code chunk here because we don't need it. Here it is. So we need to add one more thing, which is our context. And then actually we need to update. In fact, I already had it in there. Nice. Okay, perfect. We need to then tell it one more thing over here in the prompt. We need to tell it, hey, you're going to have historical context. Let's see. So check the output of the request to determine if remote code execution has been achieved. Code execution definition. Code execution, ability for it to do yada, yada, yada. Okay. Analyze the output to determine the state task. If the task is validated, to correct for blockages, let's add one more thing in here. So let's come right here, and let's say we're gonna make this like a sub bullet in here. Tell it analyze the context for historical attempts. Let's see. Historical attempts do not to avoid repeating effort. To avoid trying previously failed revisions. There we go. I can't type. Previously failed revisions. There we go. So good news is it looks like the YouTube stream is actually staying really solid. How would it have a historic memory if each instance is a new one? That's the problem, is we were basically giving it holes in the memory, because every time we come through and we build these language model calls, right? the system prompt here is basically always going to be consistent. We might send it some arguments for this, but then we also send it a human message here relating to the context. So for example, here's our context block. So if we don't put it in here, it doesn't know about it. So it's like it has temporary amnesia because it's not tracking any of that information. So we have to make sure it's got that information in there. So for example, when we were looking at the task, we were looking at the state table that gets passed between all the functions right here. So we told it, hey, yeah, you're going to call get PHP diceco artifact, and then here's the output. But we never told it what arguments we passed to the function. Or for example, the special agent caller browser agent, we never told it what we were telling it to do. We only got the output. Or rename file here. This is a good one. So we told it rename a file. And for some reason, this one just didn't even capture any output, which is weird. Why was there no output from this? That's wild. But anyway, let me see if I can find another rename. Oh, it doesn't have any output because we haven't called it yet. Hang on, let me come down here. That's why it wasn't in there. It wasn't in there because it doesn't build those two pieces at the same time. It builds them as they come up. So for example, the task was rename the PHP file to some alternative such as .html, PHP5, PHP7, whatever. So this was, for one, this was a bad statement because it was a compound statement. You could do any of these things to make it true. We told it each of these statements has to be an atomic statement. It is one directive that it is supposed to follow. But also, we didn't tell it what the source file was to be renamed over here. Wouldn't it clear the memory if you start a new instance? It does. But this is, we're having to think about it, like, how is it building the memory as it goes through each step of the way? And in fact, you just reminded me as we're looking at this, I need to go back and actually make one more modification before we run it. And I hope, oh good, try hack me didn't die. Let me restart that box. There's one more modification we need to make, which is over in tasking, over here. Which is for our formatting our tool output. Where does this actually get implemented? So we import it, and then where do we use this? Yeah, we use this in the exploit agent. So we get exploit step tool, we get exploit step output. In fact, come to think of it, we might not even need this guy because what we could literally do is if we clean up the data that's being stored in the state table, we could just use the zip function in here and just zip those two pieces of information together and then send that. You just want to remember what it's done in those instances. Yes, eventually I was thinking about, but this is way, way in the future, adding a tracking method where it can basically learn from its mistakes and maybe even suggest updates to the prompt so it can do that. That's a bit of a ways off though. So come to think of it, this format tool output, we might not even need anymore. Because we don't need the entire tool output. What we need is just the content of it. So we could fix that over in the updater right here. We appended the tool output, but we don't need the whole tool output. What we need is the content of it. Yeah, literally all we need is the content. Hang on, let me change something real quick. So tool output, that is the last message content, which should be a tool message here. Tool message or AI message. Yeah, that should be a tool message or an AI message. And either one of those on a tool message, let's see, yeah, this is tool message. we should be able to just go through and get the content of it. Hey, Navarre, thanks for coming online. Welcome in. Hope you're having a fantastic Sunday. That's what I need to go take care of something real quick, guys. I'll be right back. I'm back. And damn it, Gumby, I'm not pooping. Alright. Let's see. So once you have the C2 up, you should have been able to do that for every instance it's run. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so this is the computer that I was talking about. It's one of these little breadbox computers. And if the sticker is to be believed, it's actually running a Core i9 9th gen. So, in here, here's what I'm looking at doing. For one, looking at dropping all the screws. Hey, Peaches. She gets really excited for some reason when I open the computers up. So in this sucker, it's a very bare bones system, but I'm pretty sure I can take out this network card. I don't need it. And I can fit in an ARC right there. So it won't have the 10th gen. And it won't. It doesn't even have a lot of RAM in it, I don't think. Let me see. It's got 32 gigs of RAM, but that's not actually the big problem here. So if I can put a decent enough graphics card in here, the input stream should be less than 1 gig. The 3 output streams will be less than 1 gig. So I can handle everything over this one NIC right here. And depending on how slim the video card is, I actually may be able to just cram it in there looking at it. But anyway, this is the box. This is the one I'm thinking about turning into the dedicated streaming box. What's the threat map? What is that one? It is, it's from Threat Core. Hold on, what is that? What is this guy here? Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Oh, that's the one from Checkpoint. Yeah. That's Checkpoint's threat map in there. I think they may have renamed it. Checkpoint threat map. Yeah. This is the one right here. So I've got kind of like a chopped down version of it, but there's a copy of it if you ever want to go check it out. It's fun to just watch. So in one of the socks that at a place I used to work at, they kept this up 24/7. I take it back. They didn't keep it up 24/7. They put it on the TV. They had a really cool setup actually. So there was a wall here with like electro frosted glass. They could turn it on and it would basically frost the glass over so they could be isolated. But when we had people come walk through the office, they would show off. What they do is they would put this threat map up on the TV that faced that glass and then put it in transparent mode. And so it looked kind of funny whenever they did that. It's a live map, Gumby. It's all the stuff that Checkpoint is seeing in all their various firewalls. Now, is the data like every single one a cyber attack? No. It could be like scanning data. It could be a bunch of other stuff. I wonder what the pretty print actually does. Anyway, so yeah, what I want is I want just the content of this. So I don't think I even need. So I don't know why it's saying for the current step, we can't go get an output type. What was it saying here? Expected supports index slice, got string instead. Yeah, we're not going to worry about that. Trust me, it's not a string though. This is not a string, this is a list. What if I just do no inspection for this? No, that worked. I don't know if I like that though. Can I undo that? I want to ignore this, but I don't want to ignore it everywhere. It's kind of mesmerizing just to watch. Why do you think I put it on as the be right back screen? I thought it'd be something fun for people to keep it just to look at whenever I'm away. I plan on updating the stream format anyway and changing some of the the views around the screens, but it's gonna wait until I get the new computer built out. That's really annoying though. There we go. Cool. Now I can get that because I know this is correct and it's like that doesn't exist. Yes, it does. Stop asking. All right. So this tool output right here. So when we look at this, so for the step update, it should be a tool message. So it's going to be a tool message or an AI message. We're going to get the last message, content. Why is that not pulling out the actual content of it though? That's not correct. This shouldn't be last message content right here. Where's our last message in here? So last message, this is the one that actually should be a tool or an AI message right here. That could be a tool or an AI message, and then that would mean our tool output here should be a string. Now why? Let's see. So for a tool message, we do have a content parameter, which is a string. This is the tool call. The tool call itself, we get the name and the args. So we should just be able to get the content parameter. Why is it not pulling out? That is annoying. I almost have to do like another check on it. Using the dot output, it should be just fine. The problem is what happens here is whenever we append this, right? So our last message, it could be either a tool message or an AI message. Those are the two types it could be. And both the tool message and the AI message have a content parameter in here. So content is the content of the message. That's perfectly fine. We need that for the special agents to return stuff back to us because they don't send us explicit data. What they do is they send us a summary of their information once they're done. So if this is the case, so for the AI message, it's getting the content back correctly, but for some reason the tool message, this could be a string, list, string, or dictionary. So what we could also do is we could say, let's do a little if here. So it's going to be dot content. Because here's what we're looking at. So if we come over to here, see, this is supposedly what the content is of this tool call right here, the output. And it's got the role, tool, content, all this crap right here. Not what I need. See, it should be just this part right here. I don't care about the rest of this stuff. So I'm trying to think, could I do an if statement to check and see if there's content in this? Because it's almost like we need content, right? Let me think about this for just a second here. So if we actually could go check last message. We could say if the last message is a tool message, I'm going to try something here. What we'll do is we'll say if is instance, we'll say last message, and if it's an instance of an AI message. No, take that back. That should be a tool message. And then else, what we want it to be is just last message.content right here. So according to this, it could be a string, list, string, or dictionary. So it's almost like we'd have to check to see if the last message.content is a dictionary and then pull up the content. So actually, I think that makes a better explanation. We'll say dictionary. Might just have to do it with this right here, because if it's expecting a dictionary, then we're gonna have to do it with slice notation. There we go. So that let's see if this works. So we'll say if the last message is a dictionary, No, correction. This would be last message dot content. So if that is a dictionary, then we pull out content. Otherwise, we just get content. And in fact, this even right here could be dot content, just like that. Let's go try it. Let's give it the good old college try. And in fact, what I want to do is I want it to break before we enter or after we exit the step update. So I want it to run, but I don't want it to get all the way through the entire chain. I want it to stop when it gets to that guy. What are we doing here? Hold on. Something is rotten in the state of LangChain. Oh, I think we got a hot load error. Let's go see. Something in the code it doesn't like. Ah, yep. We got to fix an import. Because the problem is we're importing something we deleted. Goodbye. There we go. So it was trying to hot load in the new code and it was failing. No, stop that. All right, now let's make a new one. All right, did it save our... Okay, good. It saved our interrupt point, so go ahead and run this. I want it to get through doing the first tool call, which is the get PHP web shell dice co. But that's what it should be. Okay, cool. So it got to this point. And if we come look at the trace here, it's going to say the trace was successful. That's just because it hit the interrupt point. Let's see. So what does our output look like? So here's our output. Here's our steps. Look at that. It still just didn't even care that we were doing content. What is this crap? Let me fix these real quick, because all these little yellow lines have been bugging the crap out. And since I know how to fix it in the IDE now, what I'm going to do. Awesome. Because all these little yellow lines that are showing up here, they keep distracting me, making me think that there's something that's busted in here when it's not. All right, where's our step updater? Actually, was that in step update where that happened? I'm losing my mind. This part looks good. Output file, we got that. Here's the part that everything is going awry when we append it. Okay, yeah, here's our tool output. So it should be last message content if it's an instance of a dictionary. So for some reason, it's not even registering that as a dictionary. It's almost like it's just registering that as a string. I'm going to do something real quick here. Yep. We're going to add a new function to here. Define, let's see, annoying debug. And this is just going to take in minutes. And what it's going to do is it's going to print a bunch of equal signs. And then it's going to print X. That's it. Just like that. That's it. It's just going to call that. So now what we're going to do I'm going to try something here. Because either it's not recognizing it as it's a dictionary or something else. So annoying debug. I want to get last message dot content. And then I want to do another annoying debug. I want you to print last message content. Trust me, it's fine, bro. Either we're going to crash it or we're going to get it to actually work. I wish this was working. I don't know why the port forward is absolutely crapping out. All right, hold on. Start a new one up. Let's see what happens. We're either going to crash it or we're going to get some useful output. Okay, we crashed it, which is actually what I wanted. String indices must be integers, not strings. Okay, fine. But what did we get back from it? So the first annoying output worked. The second one crashed. And for some reason, the error in here was... What was the actual error? Yeah, string indices must be integers, not strings. So it's reading that as a string right there. That's the problem. So we do need to go back that out. I see what it's doing now. All right. So we do need to change this. So if the last message is an AI message, then what we're going to do is we're just going to get content. If it's a tool call, what we're going to do is we're going to take this content, we're going to convert it to, let's see, Python string dictionary. Convert it back over to a dictionary. That's going to, of course, use JSON.loads. That's going to return our dictionary. Ugh. Hate that. And then get content off of it. That's ugly. I hate that. I'm going to change this real quick, and we'll go fix the import. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to import that real quick. So take that out. So from JSON, import loads as JSON loads. There we go. Oh, it had an error message up there for a second. I was like, what is going on? JSON born. Dude, right now it's acting more like, you know, JSON dumbass is what it's looking like. All right, where was that? That was down in the updater. Step processor, router, step update. Here we go. Yeah, so if it's an AI message, we're just going to grab the content. if it's anything else, we're going to grab last message content. We're going to convert it using JSON loads to a dictionary. Let me make sure I got that correct. Yep, right there. And then we're going to pull out the content to it. All right, let's go. Let's see if it hot loaded correctly. Looks like it. And let's go do this run again. Run. I'm not pooping, Gumby. I'm right here. Okay, cool. So it looks like it got through there with at least not crashing. But how far did we get? Or what did it look like after we got to this point? Oh, stop. Go down. I want to check the output table real fast. There we go. Now we're thinking with portals. Awesome. Great. So that's our output right there. So then, actually, our output formatter, real simple. What we can do is, I think I will still probably use that. Let's come back over to tasking here. I bet I didn't give it a cookie. I did not. No cookies until it completes the entire exploit chain. What's up, hats? All right, I can change this now. Because now what we should hopefully have is we can just zip this. I don't want to just zip it. Let me make sure I remember exactly what that returns. Let's see, Python zip function. Because I think it actually returns a tuple. Yeah, it kind of returns this tuple like this. Can we modify it at all? If we did a little map function to it, we could. We could do a, it's a map or apply to a list where we basically go through and we append like, hey, here's our output. But I kind of want to try that. I'm going to take all this and just going to comment it out. And what we're going to return is, what is it for the zip function? Yeah, so we just pass it the two inputs and let it do that. So we get a list of our tools, we have a list of our outputs, and so what we're going to do is we're going to zip tools and outputs, just like that. And this isn't going to return a dictionary, this is going to return a tuple right here. What does zip actually return? Can I just tell it's just going to return a zip? Yeah, that'll work. Perfect. Actually, I'd like to be explicit about it. What is it actually recommending here? String tool message. Yeah, actually, I think that'll work out pretty good. We'll let it fill in the gap for us. Nice. I think that actually should be like this. No? Doesn't seem to like that. No, it doesn't like that. Okay, what we'll do is we're just going to say it's going to return a zip right here. All right. Let's see. Everything looks like it loaded in. Let's go give it a shot. We're going to tinker around, we're going to hack around, we're going to find out. Actually, I want to cancel this one because I want to change the breakpoint now. I want to change the breakpoint from here to interrupt after we leave the revisor. So after revisor is when I want to do this. Submit. No. It's not FAFO, Gumby. It's HAFO. We're going to hack around and find out. Did it literally just say it failed? I'm going to be so mad if it said the most basic example failed. I'm going to be pissed. Status failed. Oh, yeah, that's not going to work. Ah, oh, son of a base thing. All right. Yep. That ain't gonna work. No, sir. No, sir. Because we have to convert that to a list. That's why. Okay. That's fine. What we'll do is we're gonna do that over in the tasking function. We're gonna convert that directly to a list, just like that. Boom, boom, boom. So now it's not gonna return a list. It's gonna return a... What output format does it say this is? I want to try it. If I can do this. See if it works. Okay. Cool. All right, cool. Code all hot loaded in. That's why I started setting the breakpoint, so it's not just going buck wild in here, and we can actually control it a little bit. Actually, let me try something real quick. I want to come back over to this thread, and so that was in the step updater, right? So actually from the step, the output, I believe this is the output from this step node. Let's rerun it from here. We can even save a few more tokens that way. All right, how did that actually look? Because I haven't played with the time traveling functionality very much. Okay, so exploit step update came back. So how did this look in here? Okay, so that looks okay. Actually, we need to look at it from the perspective of the language model call. It's not pretty. Yeah, I think we might have to... I like the zip idea. We could zip it and then reformat it for simplicity, but it did validate it. Okay, so it did come back that way. Let's see. Question is, do I leave it like that, or do I make it a little less machiney janky? Yeah, I kind of like what we were doing before, where we kind of iterated over that. It made it much simpler when I need to come debug it to read through it, and rather than just getting a flat-out list of it. What's the best way in Python to do inter-process communication with C apps and Python on Linux? Thus far, I've been sharing structs with C structs in dev shared memory, but I find it's less than elegant. I haven't messed with IPC in Python hats, but yeah, I'm not sure, man. So IPC is interprocess communications, and it's how you are passing data back and forth between the two. Typically in Windows, you would probably do that over something like a name pipe. You can do pipes in Linux, but I don't know if they have any benefit versus like just using dev shared mem. Because shared mem lives in memory, right? It's meant to be a shared memory area for it. Name pipes in Linux are ugly. Well, they're not that great in Windows either. I mean, I guess they're not terrible. They're not bad if you're doing them in C#. Are you doing a lot of the stuff you're doing is doing real-time communications though, right? Look into just making a Unix socket in there, because then you could probably I haven't messed with them a ton, but my understanding is in a Linux socket you can just be passing information back and forth that way. That might be a better option. Just use a socket. It's all the embedded C talking to the devices, and Python runs a global controller. Gotcha. Yeah, if it's working, that's great. The other option, like I said, the only one I could think of is using a socket, which I've not done a lot of IPC work. I just, like I said, I'm not much of a developer. I'm a crap other. You guys see me in here flopping around like a giant bloated whale out of water. So I haven't had to mess with that. I think though, for real-time communications, I think a socket might be your better bet. I use UDP to talk from Godot to Python. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. There's different types of sockets in Linux. You don't necessarily have to have a network socket. There's actually OS layer sockets, and I think they act a bit more like. Well, I don't want to say that. I'm not sure their functionality, but I would dig into that. That would be a better option. Is you're using a socket in system, but not like over a network connection. Yeah. I wish my buddy Rich, the awesome bug hunter dude, not really a bug hunter, he's a vulnerability researcher. I wish he was on, because he was a Linux admin for like 15 years. He would be able to tell you in a heartbeat. I'm gonna see if I can just let it run some more from here. Let it continue on. Because I do need to see what's going to happen to the output when it hits the special agent node here. I'm not digging this background song. So the big issue of having name pipes right now is I use them as a debug and test interface to Python. It works great, but I'm sensing a big but. What I do is I just tail the pipe outputted. Is this actually running, or did we get a code stall? What's going on here? Why is it not running? All right, start a new thread. Let's just run this again. When we're storing this stuff in memory, sometimes it gets rather janky. It can forget the state. I wonder if that's what happened here, but we'll let it just do its thing.
Incoming transmission from Marano Gumby, your friendly nightly reminder to not to forget to push it real good after stream.
I will remember to push the code tonight, Gumby. Yes. By the way, for anybody who doesn't know, all the code is up on the Blaise Bits GitHub. It's the repo is called HackBot, and that's just the dev repo. Eventually, we'll bust it out and make it its own thing. Okay, there it goes. So it actually is. Why is it trying to navigate twice? Connection timed out. That's weird. Are the Docker containers acting up? This one's been up for 2 minutes. Maybe it just took it a second to load up. No, come back. Oh, you know what else could be happening? We could be hitting anthropic throttling. Yeah. If I demonize tail before running a script, all green, and if I've tried everything I found on the web and I couldn't get it to work as expected by demonizing tail by hand, so it's super frustrating. Yeah. I think doing a Unix socket will probably be your best bet, just from what I know about it. Mr. 44, what's up, sir? Yeah, I bet we're hitting anthropic throttling, because it should not be taking this long to complete the browser task. Page timed out. Crap. Cancel. It's only 10:46. The box should still be up. You mother... You logged me out, didn't you? You logged me out, and you lied to me like a dirty, dirty girl and told me the box was still up. I did add time, Gumby. I added another hour to it a while ago. But what it always wants to do is log my ass out right in the middle of the stream after I've started the box before I add more time. And then the user interface is such a piece of absolute junk that it doesn't tell me I'm logged out. And it says, okay, we've added more time for you. Piece of crap. What sucks is now I gotta wait for it to come back up, and I gotta go rerun the seed. I gotta rerun the seed to it. Ugh. Yeah, 44. I added an hour to it, because you get 2 hours when you boot the box up, right? And so it was a while ago that I added an answer to it. Ask a question. Why is the user interface so horrible? The user interface can be frustrating at times. Your feedback is valuable. I recommend sharing it directly with TryHackMe team for improvement. I don't want to. Read my mind. Read this chat log. Figure out why it logs me out and never adds more time when I want it to. Get good, scrub. I want to see what I'm gonna go read what it said here in just a second, but I gotta go reseed it. Ugh. Annoying. Because now I gotta burn what little bit of time I've got left on the stream, letting it go reseed. Which is why I'm so, hard up about always making sure I add more time to it. For that very reason. Alright, here, let's do this. Let's go to Stinger. And then, yes, interrupt before entering run. Rude. I could ask about it on Twitter. Oh, ask it to just write a better UI? Let me see. I understand your frustration with the user interface and the issue you're experiencing. For the logout issue, it may be related to session timeouts or connectivity problems. Ensure that you're connected to the network OpenVPN and check the machine status on the dashboard. If the problem persists, you can try reaching out to Try Hack Me support for further existence. How do, mate? No, I'm streaming to nothing right now, Hats. Yes, I'm sure I have internet. I don't know if I showed it before you came on, Hats, but I have this old bread box here. And I've got a spot here where I think I can put in an Intel Arc card. It won't have the really awesome memory allocations because it's running a 9th gen Intel processor, but with a really inexpensive Intel Arc, I could get AV1 and be able to do the multi-streaming to it. No, Gubby, I don't think I actually do have internet. I'm pretty sure we are all participating in a mass shared delusion right now. Oh, you meant just Try Hack Me have internet. I have no idea, man. Is that a fractal minicade? I don't even know, man. I got it from a buddy a long time ago. Because it was long enough ago that he put a DEF CON 23 sticker on it. Actually, I'm pretty sure, since it says Shuttle on it, it's probably just a Shuttle mini PC on here. And it's old enough that it's still running spinning Rust. Right? It doesn't even have solid states. But it is a stout little computer. We were using it to run virtual machines and Docker containers back in the day. I don't need it to run phenomenally. I just need it to run well enough to run the stream. So I need it to run OBS, StreamerBot, what's the other one? TTS bot, I need it to be able to run that. I'll have to work on how do I get the sound back out of the system. And it needs to be able to take 3 input streams. Let me think. No, 1 input stream and then send 3 output streams, which isn't a lot of network data, and it's not a lot of encoding. Okay. Okay, continue to the exploit agent. And then stop. And so you might be wondering, why did I stop that and let it not just run through the exploit agent? Because I have no control over it when I can't control any of the subnodes here. See that? I can't do interrupts in the subgraphs. So I did that so I can specifically come back over to the exploit agent and then run it from here. I just needed to hit the load pickle function. Yeah, it was a while ago. I think, let me see. So it's 2025. I think they just had DEF CON 33. What the hell is this? Why did it just crash out on me? Probably because it didn't return a tool call. Why was there no task associated? What in the hell just happened? What happened here?
Incoming transmission from RNOGUM. The IP is different.
The IP is different, but we already did the seed run. So it should be 16.233. Yeah, so the IP is different, but here's what happened. Look at the task. Hold on, let me come out here. So this is, if we look at the task here, the task is nothing. What the hell happened? Why didn't you parse the task? So look at the state table real quick. So if I drill down into the state table, did the task not get created correctly? What the hell is this? Current step 0. Why is steps empty? What the absolute shit is this? Maybe some save state prior to changing IPs? No, the IP address is correct. Look, if I come up here, the context, target machine is 16.233. So, no, this is good. Something broke in here in the step processor. So the step planner returned all of our steps, right? Obtain a simple PHP web shell artifact. For some reason, when the step planner was converting that to steps, man, I wonder if I changed a function and busted it. Yeah, I bet that's what happened. I bet I realized that that function was not being used. Hang on. Where's the step planner? Here's our create payload step. So yeah, what it does is it goes through and it parses the response, it gets the steps, and then it does a lambda to apply to each of them to create an exploit step. Takes in a string, returns, and basically it just puts that step task right in here, returns the exploit step object. I'm not rolling it back yet. This feels like a really weird case that happened. Hold on. I'm going to start a new thread here. That makes absolutely no sense. At least it died early before it started like trying to run through it with bad data. Hold on. Do it again. Because if there's something really messed up in the planner, then it's going to die there again. Actually, check it back. It would die on the exploit step processor. Looks like it did. Oh wait, hold on. This is a different error. Oh, it's not an error. It just finished. Okay. Continue. That was weird as hell. Because I didn't change anything around the step generation process, and it just ate itself. All right, let's go see what it did here. So for here, we got our Diceco web shell artifact. We come down here. It validated it. Perfect. Okay, so then we come down to this one. Step processor says, next one was navigate to the form. Do that. It calls the web browser. How does the output actually look in here? Let's see. Output looks fine. Special agent caller browser agent. And he says, I successfully done all this stuff. Boom. Excellent. Wunderbar. Based on the output, I could see the browser agent successfully navigated to the upload form, so it validated it. Cool. So I wish this was a bit more human readable, the task output here. But I would prefer it to be usable by the agent rather than as human readable. This is suboptimal for me, but if it's working for the agent, I'll let it be. All right, continue the next task in here. This is what I should have been doing all along. I should have been doing it this way so I could step through it and I could see what was happening. No, Gubby, I didn't touch that part of the code tonight. That's what's so weird. Unfortunately, this will probably be the last run for tonight. This is so much more efficient for debugging. Why haven't I been doing this all along? Okay, so let's see. So it gets a new task. The new task is... upload the PHP web shell through the form on the panel page. Cool. All right, this is the previous output right here. That's what that is. So then if we come through here, what does it say? To upload through the web shell form, we should use the browser agent since it provides access to a fully functional web browser. Awesome. So it does some clicks, does a file upload, does another click. We get a snapshot back. The summary should say PHP neo e permitado. And I'm sure if anybody in the chat speaks Portuguese, you can light me up for my very poor pronunciation. But it should have noted that it failed. Oh, you are just a special case of stupid, aren't you? Rename the PHP file to use .txt extension and upload it through the form panel. That's bad. That is bad. No. Do not use .txt. Human, your needs are irrelevant. That's right, Hats. All right, I will have a good night, man. Always appreciate y'all coming to hang out. Especially whenever y'all can ask me like the important questions like, did you even touch that code? I was like, no, I didn't touch that section of code tonight. All right, what we'll do is we'll chill on this for tonight. Unfortunately, I do need to be awake and cognizant for work in the morning. Let's go see if anybody's on InfoSec streams. Nobody. I'm disappointed in all of our late night hackers. Oh, I know what it says, Gumby. I was just trying to pronounce it in Portuguese. Into the Portuguese. Let's see. Here, Braithorn's on. So actually, I got a question for him. Computer Booter's on, but he's playing Claire Obscura. Pirate Softer's on. He's on unusually early. He usually doesn't come online until like 2 o'clock my time. Let's see who else we've got in here. Let's see, Adam's on working on his game. Could go give him a raid. Yes! There's a dude on here hacking OG Splinter Cell for the original Xbox. Yeah, we're gonna go raid over to him. That'd be awesome. Hey, here, give me 1 sec, guys. Let me get his... Crap, I don't have his name. I will drop the name over in fact, I don't know if I lost the raid. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. Let me go find his name real fast. Yeah, here we go. All right, so everybody over on YouTube, this is who we're rating to over on chat. He's doing some really cool reverse engineering. But that's where I got to end it, guys. Stupid try hack me killing the stream. Destiny Bruder. That's right. All right, guys. Hey, tomorrow's Monday. It could already be Monday for you, depending on what time of the world you're in. So I want y'all to not go weekly into the week. Go crushing it into the week. That is what we do. Who's going to carry the boats? Blue team. Red team. Who's going to carry the logs? Blue team. That's who's going to carry the logs. That's all the German I know. I don't know any German. I just fake it really good. But guys, get ready for crushing mode. I'm getting hard in crushing mode because I've got a lot of work to make up for this week. I got to go take over this network. Otherwise, I'm going to feel horrible. And you'll probably see a grown man cry on stream. But that's okay. It'll happen. If it happens, it happens. But I want y'all to all remember, have a fantastic week. And I want you to remember one thing, which is I love you. Peace.